This story revolves around a group of friends who decided to explore an abandoned house in their town. The house was known among the locals to be haunted, but courage and a sense of adventure drove them to enter. Andrew, Sophia, Alex, and Layla were close friends. One night, they decided to visit the notorious haunted house. It was said that an old family had lived there and had suffered a tragic accident, leaving the house abandoned for years. When they arrived at the house, the lights were dim and the surrounding trees seemed to embrace the darkness. They stood in front of the creaking wooden door, feeling the chill of the night air on their faces. With a flashlight in hand, Andrew cautiously opened the door. It creaked loudly, as if the house was welcoming them in a strange way. They entered and began to explore. The walls were covered in dust, and furniture was scattered around as if time had stopped. As they explored, they heard a faint noise coming from upstairs. They exchanged hesitant glances, but curiosity prevailed. They climbed the old staircase, each step echoing loudly. Upon reaching the second floor, they found a closed room. The door was locked, but Sophia felt an overwhelming urge to open it. They used some force to push the door open and discovered a dark room filled with old items. Suddenly, the flashlight went out, plunging them into darkness. In that moment, they felt something brush past them. Alex screamed, and they all jumped back. Andrew turned the flashlight back on, but they found nothing. As they tried to regain their composure, they noticed an old picture hanging on the wall. It was a portrait of a family, and their expressions looked sorrowful. The strange part was that their eyes seemed to follow the friends wherever they moved in the room. Things began to get weirder, and they felt a presence watching them. They decided to leave, but when they tried to escape, they found the door had closed. They struggled to open it, but it seemed stuck. At that moment, they began to hear faint whispers, as if someone was speaking. The words were unclear, but they felt fear creeping into their hearts. Suddenly, the door opened unexpectedly, as if something had pushed it. They decided to flee. They ran to the first floor, but found that the house had changed. They no longer knew where they were. Every room seemed to lead them somewhere else, as if the house was trying to trap them. Finally, they found themselves in the living room, but they were not alone. There was a horrifying figure standing in the corner. It looked human, but its face was distorted and its eyes glowed with malice. They couldn't move, as if they were frozen in place. The figure began to approach them, and the whispers grew louder. At that moment, Andrew remembered something about breaking the cycle of fear. He shouted at the top of his lungs, "We are here to leave!" Suddenly, they felt the pressure lifting from their chests. They seized the opportunity and ran toward the front door, which was now open. They didn't stop running until they were outside. They breathed a sigh of relief, but realized that something had followed them. A lingering sense of dread accompanied them. The friends returned home, but they couldn't forget that night. They knew something had been in that house, and it wasn't just their imagination. That experience became a lesson for them about the importance of respecting old places and the history they carry. This story serves as a warning to everyone. Some places hold dark secrets, and sometimes it's best to leave them in the past. Hampton Court Palace in London is one of the most historically haunted locations, linked with numerous ghost stories and paranormal phenomena. The palace was once the royal residence for several kings and queens, including Henry VIII, and was the scene of many tragic events, leading to the accumulation of legends around it. In the 16th century, King Henry VIII lived in Hampton Court Palace, known for his ruthless treatment of his wives. One of the most terrifying incidents involved Catherine Howard, Henry's fifth wife, who was accused of adultery. When her affair was discovered, Henry ordered her arrest and execution. According to history, Catherine ran through the palace trying to escape the soldiers sent to capture her. As she attempted to flee, she reached the palace's haunted gallery, where she screamed, begging the king for mercy. However, the soldiers caught her, and she was led to her eventual execution. It is believed that Catherine Howard's spirit still roams the gallery, with many visitors reporting sightings of a ghostly figure of a woman in old clothing, screaming for help. There are numerous reports of strange occurrences in the palace, including doors opening and closing on their own, the sound of footsteps with no visible source, and visitors feeling sudden drops in temperature in certain rooms. One of the most famous incidents occurred in 2003, when surveillance cameras captured a heavy door opening and closing by itself, followed by the appearance of a mysterious ghost-like figure dressed in old-fashioned clothes. This footage sparked significant interest from paranormal researchers. Today, the palace is considered one of the most haunted places in Britain, attracting visitors eager to experience the eerie phenomena firsthand. This story revolves around a hotel called the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles, which is believed to be haunted. In 2013, a mysterious incident occurred that sparked a lot of controversy: the case of Elisa Lam. Elisa Lam, a young Canadian woman, traveled to Los Angeles for a vacation. She stayed at the Cecil Hotel, which has a long history of crime and mystery. The hotel had previously witnessed numerous suicides and crimes, making it a place of horror. On January 31st, 2013, Elisa mysteriously disappeared. Her family began searching for her, but to no avail. After several days, a foul odor started to permeate the hotel. Her body was discovered in the water tank on the roof, raising many questions about how she ended up there. Before her death, footage of Elisa was captured by the hotel's security cameras. She was acting strangely, talking to herself and moving in an unusual manner. She was seen opening and closing doors as if searching for something. This footage puzzled both investigators and the public alike. After her body was found, an investigation into the incident began. There were no signs of foul play, but the circumstances surrounding her life raised many questions. Did she suffer from mental health issues, or was there something supernatural occurring in the hotel? The case of Elisa Lam remains one of the most mysterious and terrifying cases. It serves as a cautionary tale that some places hold dark secrets, and that there are things in the world that cannot be explained. The Cecil Hotel is still open and continues to attract visitors seeking paranormal experiences. The story of the Soldering Family is one of the most mysterious and terrifying incidents in American history, where 5 children from the family vanished in a sudden and unexplained manner after a fire broke out in their home on Christmas Eve in 1945. On the night of December 24th, 1945, the Soldering family celebrated Christmas at their home in Fayetteville, West Virginia. The family consisted of Father George, Mother Jenny, and their 9 children. After the celebration, everyone went to sleep, but around 1:30 a.m., a fire broke out in the house. George and Jenny managed to escape with 4 of their children, but the other 5, who were sleeping upstairs, were never found. George tried to re-enter the house to rescue his children, but found that the external ladder was missing. He also attempted to use a nearby truck to reach the upper floor windows, but strangely, the truck, which had been in good condition earlier, wouldn't start. After the fire consumed the house, authorities searched for the children's remains, but no trace of their bodies or even bones was found. Fire experts stated that the heat wasn't intense enough to completely incinerate bones. This led the family to suspect that the children had not died in the fire, but had been kidnapped. Following the incident, the Solders received several strange clues indicating that their children might still be alive. Among these clues was a photograph sent to the family via mail, showing a child resembling one of their missing sons, accompanied by a handwritten note. However, no definitive details about the children's fate ever emerged. To this day, the disappearance of the Solder children remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American history, with theories ranging from mafia abduction to government conspiracies. Borley Rectory is known as the most haunted house in England and dates back to the 19th century. The rectory has been the site of numerous paranormal activities, making it a subject of fascination for ghost hunters and spiritual researchers. Borley Rectory was built in 1862 to serve as the residence for Reverend Henry Bull and his family. Almost immediately after the family moved in, strange occurrences began to take place. Residents of the house reported hearing footsteps in the hallways, even though no one was present, and multiple apparitions appeared, most notably a ghostly nun walking in the garden near the rectory. The most famous of these spirits was that of the nun, believed to have lived in a nearby monastery during the Middle Ages. Legend has it that she tried to flee with a local monk, but the pair was caught. She was sentenced to death and was supposedly buried within the walls of the rectory. The strange phenomena escalated after Reverend Henry Bull's death. His successor, Reverend Guy Smith, and his family also experienced paranormal activity. They reported hearing knocks on the walls and seeing objects move on their own. Reverend Smith's wife, Marianne, was particularly affected, claiming to have felt an invisible hand grasp her while she was asleep, and she witnessed apparitions throughout the house. In 1930, the famous paranormal investigator Harry Price was invited to investigate Borley Rectory. Price spent an extended period at the rectory, conducting various experiments. During his investigation, Price reported seeing mysterious shadows, hearing strange noises, and even witnessing writing that appeared on the walls by itself. Messages like, "Marianne, help me," appeared in chalk on the walls, without explanation. In 1939, a mysterious fire broke out at Borley Rectory, destroying much of the building. Despite this, researchers and enthusiasts continued to visit the site to gather evidence and try to understand what had happened. Later, human bones were discovered in the cellar, adding another layer of mystery to the rectory. The story remains unsolved, and Borley Rectory is still considered one of the most haunted locations in England. Some believe that the events there are the result of an overlap between the spiritual and physical worlds, and that the rectory might be a gateway for restless spirits.